Tensions are rising in eastern Ukraine tonight. Pro-Russian protesters have now seized control of 2 police stations. This week, they took over several other government buildings. Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister reacted today, imposing more sanctions. As Christina Stevens reports, Kiev accuses Moscow of orchestrating the unrest.
Dozens of armed men in balaclavas have stormed police stations in 2 eastern Ukraine towns, hoisting the Russian flag above one of the buildings. Our people want to live quietly and peacefully without the junta who seized power in Kiev, he says. Scuffles broke out with local residents in the fiercely divided country. At one point, gunshots rang out after an armed man shouted to a cameraman to stop recording. It's not believed anyone was injured. There are also occupations of government buildings in other cities, with demonstrators calling for a referendum, vowing not to back down. The victory will be ours. This is Russian land, and we're standing here for truth, says this protester. There have been waves of protests in eastern Ukraine since the ouster of pro-Kremlin President Viktor Yanukovych in February and the subsequent annexation of Crimea by Russia.
He wants all of Ukraine.
Errol Brown says Russian President Vladimir Putin has a hand in the protests.
The Russians are using the same kind of threats that they employed before they invaded Crimea, the same tactics of armed people taking over buildings, making demands for separation.
And satellite images show Russian military units lining up near Ukraine's eastern border. According to American intelligence, there are thousands of soldiers prepared to invade on just 12 hours' notice. The U.S. has threatened tougher sanctions against Russia if there's an escalation.
Mr. Putin doesn't react to implications. He reacts to actually something being done. So sanctions have to be effective. They have to be biting. The United States could and should do more.
Meanwhile, diplomatic efforts continue, with the U.S., the European Union, Russia, and Ukraine set to meet next week. Christina Stevens, Global News, Toronto.